Okay, welcome back, guys. So now let's get into the tracing things with symmetry. Go in, lock that layer, make a new layer. Let's zoom in. P for pen tool. Make sure the stroke is selected. See, it's weird. Like if you open up a JPEG, which this was, the swatches are not there versus something like this where I opened an AI file and all the swatches were there. So I think what I'm going to do, just for sake of saving time, is just copy and paste this into here. So now we have all the swatches. Dope. We'll get rid of this, unlock it, delete it. We'll lock this layer and then we'll go on this layer. Cool. You don't gotta worry too much about the layers, but we're living. Okay. So let's get into it. Now, P for pen tool, make sure that the stroke is selected. So let's just start with something really simple with the arrows. Let's change it to blue so you can see it. Now, you don't always have to, but it helps. So in this case, because it's symmetrical, you want to turn the rulers on. Now again, you don't have to, but in this case, it might help. Turn the rulers on so now you can see the top and at the side. If you just click and drag out, and then kind of let go at the center, you can go ahead and, you can go ahead and move it as well. So we'll say that's the center for the arrows, okay? So there's your guide. Now, let's begin. So this is easy because it's just straight lines. So in this case, you'll start at the middle. Just click right on it. Your anchor point is set. And just start going. Start tracing. And then when you get to the middle, stop. Click V. So now what you've created is just one half of the shape, right? I'll fill it in so it's easier to see. So now what you're gonna do to make it perfectly symmetrical is you're gonna select it, copy it, Command C, paste it in front, Command F, so now it's directly in front, right? And with the front, with that new shape in front selected, you're gonna right click, transform it, and reflect it vertically 90 degrees. Okay, now you can see it's flipped. Now what I'm going to do is hold shift and use the right arrow, no pun intended, and move this all the way over. So boom, there you go. Now as you can see, it looks like it's finished, but it's not because we still have two different shapes. The paths aren't joined. So let me go ahead and move this over for you to see it better. And I'm going to take the fill out. So now it just looks like this. However, the anchor points are not connected. The paths aren't joined. So what you can do is you can move them where you can kind of see in between. Doesn't have to. And what you can either do is you can select everything, right click join, or just Command J to join it. And because there's a top and a bottom that needs to be joined, whenever you click join, it'll automatically just collect two of the anchors together. So in this case, you have to click Command J or join it twice. So there goes the bottom and there goes the top. Another way to do that is with the direct selection tool. Click one anchor point, hold shift, and click the other anchor point you want to connect it to, and then click Command J. So anchor point, shift, anchor point, Command J. So now the entire shape is joined, the entire shape is now one and connected, and it is one perfect symmetrical shape. You can do whatever you want with it, move it around, all that fun stuff. Another way you could do this also, and we'll get into this in the later part of the course, is if you come to use the Pathfinder tool, if you have it selected and you click Unite, this is going to happen. It's going to unite the anchor points and paths together, but this isn't what we want. So you just want to make sure that they're kind of overlapping each other. And then have it selected, click Unite, and now you have the shape. Cool. Now let's keep it going. Now let's get into something a little bit more complex. The tree, I'm sure you guys can figure. Actually, let's do the tree because there's one interesting thing that happens when you try to join two points. Like if you want to try to make a triangle connect, it's weird. So let's go ahead and just trace the tree really fast. So again, if you want, you can bring this ruler out as your guide and just start going. Now again, when you're doing something that's symmetrical, you just want to trace one half of it. Okay, stop. V, Command C. Actually, let's just do this. Command V, oops. So you notice you want to make sure that you have the direct selection tool. Oh, there wasn't stroke. The stroke wasn't in. Okay, there we go. So let's just do this. Move it over. Okay. Command C, Command F, paste it in front, right click, transform, reflect, vertical 90 degrees. Okay. Right arrow and shift. Moving it over, moving it over, moving it over. And let's stop about right there. So, again, select everything or go ahead with the direct selection and click each anchor point. Command J, join those paths, and there you go. So down here, it's looking pretty good. Great, beautiful. Now up here, this is where it gets a little weird. And it's not bad at all. So it's not a perfect, excuse me, it's not a perfect point because you have the two anchor points. So how do you get rid of that and make it a perfect triangular point? Remember this little toolbar up here where if you right-click the pen tool, you can bring it out like this. We're going to go ahead and use the delete anchor point tool. And what I'm going to do actually is, now we'll just delete it. So you could click whatever one you want as long as it's selected, and there it goes, it's deleted. Now, however, it's not perfectly symmetrical. You probably can't see it, but the point is kind of more over to the left. So the best way to do that and fix that is you go to the anchor point tool, click it, and then you can actually, if you hold down spacebar before you try to move it, it'll actually move the anchor point. So you'll notice with the smart guides on, when it locks to the pink line, the pink vertical line, that's the center. So if it's locked on the pink, it's centered, boom, now it's perfectly centered, now it's perfectly symmetrical. So that's how you get the symmetry in the triangles, and boom, there you go. Now you can copy and paste it and like make a little forest. Look at that, beautiful. Okay. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'll have you guys practice yourself. I think what I'll do is, actually we'll do two more. We'll do the butterfly and we'll do the bear claw paw thing, okay? So I'm going to use the guide. I'm going to center it on each one. And if you want to get rid of the guide, just click it and delete it. So let's start with this. Now this is a combination of the pen tool and the ellipse tool. All these little like toe prints are just the ellipse. So let's start with the paw. I'm just going to go ahead and start going. Doesn't have to be perfect, just so you get the gist. Okay, when you get to the center or the half part, stop, V. So now we have this. So before I copy and flip it, copy, paste, and flip it, I'm going to go up here and work on the other stuff as well. And stop, V, select off, P, pen tool, trace this claw. Okay, keep going. So I'm not going to try to trace these because I could just do it, click L, get the ellipse shape up, and just kind of click and drag it. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Now it's perfectly centered, even though it doesn't look like it is. And then I'm just going to copy, Command C, Command F, paste in front, and then you could just kind of bring it down and rotate it. Use the arrows, click it, move it around. Command C, Command F, and then rotate it again. So now that we have half of what we want, just select everything. I'm going to bring it over here, Command C, Command F. Oh, I even copied the guide, so don't really need the guide anymore. Select everything, Command C, Command F, paste in front, transform, reflect, 90 degrees, and then just shift and the arrows, move it over. So I don't need 2 of these, so I'm just going to get rid of one of them. And now you want to come in and join them. So what needs to be joined? The paw. Select everything, Command J, Command J. Don't got to worry about anything there. Looks pretty good. But again, remember the triangles, sometimes it gets weird. So Command J, J, and you have this weird thing. Doesn't really look like a claw. Kind of looks like a TP or something. So again, select it, delete anchor point, delete one of them, come over to the anchor point tool, click spacebar, hold it down, and then you can move it around. Once it snaps to the pink line, now you have it dead centered. And boom, bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Perfectly symmetrical bear claw, bare hand, barefoot, whatever you want to call it. There we go. Okay. Now let's do the butterfly, and then I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and practice on your own. It's you can see it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Again, like I said, it's just creative problem solving. Okay. Oops. Okay. Now let's do the butterfly. So we're gonna do these simple ones, and then I'm gonna show you how to do like something a little bit more complex, something a little bit more interesting. Because why does that keep happening? Because all of these drawings are really juvenile, and we're not 5th graders, right? We're not in the 1st grade learning how to write. Okay. Now, start at the center. I'm just gonna do this as like fast as I can. I'm not gonna try to make it perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can't rush art. Well, you can sometimes. Boom. Okay. Now, let's move this over to here. Now, let's make this a little easier to see. Make that stroke a little bigger. So, sometimes, if you make something symmetrical, the 1/2 needs to be adjusted and cleaned up a little bit. So it's just easier overall. So in this, excuse me, got the hiccups. In this case, I want to get rid of this little weird corner. What I can do is just with the direct selection tool, click the circle and round it out, or use the smooth tool to smooth it out. Okay, very cool. And then this antenna thing up here, you can go in and smooth it out that way. Just want to make sure the lines are a little bit cleaner. Cool. Okay. So by now, hopefully you're getting it. Select it, copy and paste it, Command C, Command F, transform, reflect 90 degrees, shift and the arrow, scoot it on over, stop when you get about here. Okay, let's do the body first. Command J, join that sucker. Looks pretty good, no complaints. And then there we go. You don't have to join the wings because they're their own shape. And there you go. Boom. There you have it. So, symmetry, not that hard. It's just a matter of tracing one side, copying it, pasting it, flipping it, and then joining the necessary paths to have a nice seamless shape. So that's it for the basics. In the next 3 videos, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how I would use the same basic, complex, and symmetrical shapes into something a little bit more interesting so you can start to kind of think outside the box, because all the shapes that I provided are pretty juvenile, so I'll also provide resources and things to do that are a little bit more complex, a little bit more interesting, and just overall cooler. So in that case, again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. We're learning. It's amazing.